Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. Now, only yesterday I did a video about Prince Charles, about how he did a propaganda BBC interview talking about how he sympathised with the likes of Extinction Rebellion and Insulate Britain, who are of course one and the same, just using different names, because they are duplicit and trying to mislead people, and they are funded by the likes of George Soros and other billionaires and NGOs, and that is no surprise that Prince Charles is on their side, as they are part of the same system that Prince Charles is part of. He's in there with Klaus Schwab, with the Great Reset, etc., etc. It's all part of the system. But what is the system? Now, sometimes when I look through the comments, I see people mentioning the beast system and the mark of the beast. Sometimes the reference to the beast system is about the ruthless desire for greed and money by big corporations. And of course, some go into the mark of the beast. And that's when you get biblical. And then when you get biblical, people start talking about the Antichrist. And over the years, many people have been associated with being the Antichrist, like Trump, Obama. And there have been conspiracies in the past about Prince Charles and how he could be the Antichrist. You've probably heard this before, but it has been said that Prince Charles's name calculates to 666 in both English and Hebrew, that the symbols in his coat of arms are identical to those of the first beast in Revelation 13. There are all kinds of things. I'll talk about some of these in a minute, but I'll also link to a video on YouTube of a 90-minute interview with an author who's written a book about it, who really goes into detail about this. I'll put a link in the comments. It's very interesting. But the reason that I started looking up these theories again was after someone sent me this yesterday, and it just made me start looking into it again. This photograph was taken over the weekend in London. This is a large advert that was up on London Bridge. It's from an organisation called Climate Cool Up. It features the Royal Crown emblem, the coat of arms, and there's Prince Charles there with the quote, "We must now put ourselves on a warlike footing." It has the words government notice, decree with mandatory effect, all new fossil fuel investments banned, a climate siren. So what is all this then? So I go check out the Climate Cool Up website, and this is it here. As you can see, we've got a siren, again the crown emblem, and an enlist page. First thing you see, then you scroll down. And it says here, the Climate Cool Up asks everyone to step up. We face an existential emergency that requires a World War II level mobilization. We only have a short window left in which to start properly reversing the damage. Individual behaviour has its place, but the huge scale of the crisis now calls for collective power. We need to act together as citizens to put unstoppable pressure on our governments and to counteract lobbying from fossil fuel and other interests. It then goes on more about wartime level mobilisation, okay? It reads, wartime level mobilisation represents a fundamental step change from our current approach. It means we have to do whatever it takes. It means involving and mobilizing all the population across all social, ethnic and class divides. It means marshalling all our resources, using extraordinary yet pragmatic measures in regulation, rationing and taxation. It then says, it means embracing mandatory measures, not just voluntary incentives. That's an interesting choice of wording. This again, it reminds me of the meme, the virus ball, the climate change meme, Indiana Jones. There's a swap around on the panic and exchange. There's also a video here, as you can see. Before it plays, this crown emblem comes up with HM, Climate Emergency Government, written underneath. What is this? I've not heard of this before. Now, I can't imagine that this has not been sanctioned by royalty and the government. You can't just put adverts up and use the HM insignia, the coat of arms. It must be. Here's the clip which features a climate emergency siren that will go off in the centre of London every month until they reach zero carbon or whatever these control freaks seem to want.
Burning hotter, faster, and more explosive than ever before.
Submerged in chest-deep waters, the most intense on record.
Kermit the Frog sang, "It's not easy being green." Kermit the Frog.
So yeah, you can see where this is going. This is some big time propaganda. And again, we have Prince Charles, once again at the centre of this, or the royal family, Her Majesty's Climate Emergency Government. And there, of course, we've got Prince Charles on the posters as well, talking about a war footing. The man who runs his Aston Martin on surplus English white wine and whey from the cheese process. And this reminded me of all those biblical Antichrist references I saw a while back. And especially these days, with everything that's going on, we live in a world where it's been made very clear of late, very transparent, that the governments around the world are not independently run, that they are run by a very small group of super rich people. All of these so-called leaders, puppet tyrants, are all following orders. That's very clear when we see the tyrannical push on the passports, the plans for a cashless society, the plan to try and lock everyone into a digital identity. We are already in a situation where people are losing their jobs if they don't get a jab and a passport. Is that the mark of the beast? Who knows? It's certainly going that way. We have the Pope calling for a one world system of governance. Organisations such as the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, seem to be making the rules. But then, of course, on the other side, we have the royalty and the religious side, which is the Vatican and the royal family. With the royalty, of course, we have Prince Charles, who is set to become the king as soon as the Queen keels over. The heir, the Prince Charles. This is the same Prince Charles who launched the Great Reset. Okay, the Prince Charles who way back in 1991, lobbied the United Nations to start the United Nations Earth Summit. So you can go right back 30 years and see back then, Prince Charles was exploiting his position to get the United Nations to do things worldwide about the environment. Look at this, 2002. This bronze statue was made for him. It was called Saviour of the World, where he is seen in a loincloth with angel or Luciferian wings, standing on a world where there are skull and bones under his feet. This is a small version that was given to him in Brazil, but there is apparently a full-size, I believe 20-foot version that has never seen the light of day. Of course, the Antichrist is supposed to be a fake saviour who appears amidst great lying signs and wonders, who will deceive the entire population of the world, except for God's elect, because a mighty demonic spirit of lying and deception will blow through the world at the time he appears. That's a quote from a website. Look, I'm not saying this is the way it is, all right? I just find it very curious, very coincidental, and I'm sharing it with you and putting it out there. You look at it and you tell me what you think. Then also you have the Prince Charles coat of arms. It says here Prince Charles is coat of arms was designed for him by the British College of Heraldry using a system of guidelines over 500 years old. It contains all the biblical symbols of the Antichrist, as you can see on the left from the Bible. The great beast, it says about the beast in the Bible, it says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, his throne, and great authority." Charles is the Prince of Wales. Okay? Prince of Wales, Wales, the dragon. The dragon is there in the coat of arms. And there's loads more about that. Also, you've got loads of ties with Israel, which are numerous. And there's loads of details about that in the interview I was talking about earlier, which I'll link in the comments. It's definitely worth a listen if you're interested. So yeah, the beast system, the royal family, the Commonwealth, power, control, money. They have 10 heraldic beasts that symbolize them. I mean, are we moving back into a feudal system when kings were the rulers? And this illusion of democracy that we've been living in all this time, which never even existed, that pretense will not be put out anymore. And the feudalism, communism is what the Great Reset is all about? I don't know. Anyway, check out that interview if you're interested in all of this. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the tribe at hugotalks.com, a place for like-minded souls who don't follow the fake stream media.